Welcome back, everybody. I want to take a couple of minutes just to thank you for your patience with the extended break. I'm sure that you all hated being out for an additional extra week, but it was important for faculty members to have that extra week so that we can make adjustments and get the rest of the semester put online. So you got 2 weeks of break, I got an extra week of taking care of things to make sure that we can finish the rest of the semester on time and more or less in the same way as we might have expected under normal conditions. Right, so we are using a couple of different technological outlets to do various parts of the course. I addressed these in an announcement that was sent out to the class that was emailed as well as posted as an announcement in our e-learning course. And I've also updated the syllabuses. It is of the utmost importance that you read these things. Actually read that information. Going forward for the rest of the semester, the only way that I will have to communicate with you and you with me is through online interaction. And that means that when information gets sent out that's written, it's very important that it's read. I can't make you do that. It's going to be our responsibility to make sure that we keep up with announcements and everything that's happening. So what I've done with the remainder of the course, which is what's described in the new syllabus and the announcements, is the best that I'm able to do while maintaining the general structure of the class. I wish that we had a single application or utility that would allow us to meet all those needs, but individual things have different problems. So Zoom.us doesn't really support meetings longer than 40 minutes with more than 3 participants, so we can't do that for our weekly Q&A meetings. Blackboard Collaborate's kind of clunky, and you have to log in to Blackboard. Please do log into the website. I don't suggest using the application in order to be able to make that work, but even though it's cumbersome, it does seem like the best place to conduct those question and answer meetings that happen weekly. I've tried to make these things as clear as I can. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to do what I can to try to clarify those things. Using Microsoft Teams is probably the best place for us to go to try to get those questions that we might have answered. It lets you ask questions of me, it lets you speak to other people, and it lets us present clear information that'll be the same to everybody in a variety of different ways. Right? I've noticed so far that, something like 10% of students have signed up for the team. I'm really hoping that that changes as we're starting back. Now, look, I know none of you signed up for online classes this semester, and I didn't either. Frankly, I don't really like them all that much. In some cases, for some students, they're particularly useful. They allow for asynchronous learning, especially if your time is necessarily used elsewhere, caring for children, full-time job, and so on and so forth. But, this is where we are. And the rest of the semester is going to be done online according to the university, and we're going to do the best we can to keep ourselves on the same track that we were on before we took our break and finish out the rest of the semester strong. A lot of your time here at UTD is going to be spent learning information and knowledge that's useful for, growing up and just in general having, but also for your career. But college is also a big part of where you learn a bunch of different relevant skills that are useful for all parts of adulthood. Being flexible and adjusting to changing circumstances is one of those things. We need to be flexible. We need to do the best that we can and hold ourselves accountable. To that end, I want to make a couple of suggestions. It's important to keep up to date. Check the syllabus, which has been updated and is posted on e-learning. Some of the dates for when things are due have changed. A lot of what we'll do for the rest of the semester is more or less the same as what we had originally planned. What we're changing is the delivery of those things. I also think it's very important for us to stay active and involved. One of the big dangers of having online classes is that we're going to fall into complacency. That we're going to say, well, this class is online, it's not as easy. Frankly, I've never understood that conclusion. Just because it's online, you still have work to do. There's no inherent ease that comes with not having to go anywhere. If anything, it seems to me to be the other way around. When you have a schedule and you must show up someplace at a given time, you're kind of being held accountable by other people. When you're staying at home, there's not anyone else around to try to hold you accountable if you won't do it yourself. I think it's important for us to set a schedule. Wake up at the same time. Go to bed at the same time. Set aside time for work that allows you to focus on it. You don't need to spend the whole day working. Take some time, go out for a walk, talk to some friends. But say between the hours of 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., I work on this class. Then between 11 and 12, I take a break to go for a walk and have some lunch. Between 12 and 2, I come back and do this thing. Your schedule will vary, of course, depending on what your obligations are, what times of day work best for you. But setting a schedule is really important for keeping ourselves accountable when nobody else is there to watch over us. I've posted lectures, and I'm in the process of posting more as I get those done. I never thought that I would be a podcaster, but here I am. Now, there's nothing that I can do to make you watch those, to make you engage with them. Nothing. You have to do that yourself, right? There are important things to be gleaned from those, right? It's an important part of education. Engage with those lectures. Write down questions that you might have from the readings that you did beforehand and from the lectures that are posted. And we can address those things during our weekly question and answer sessions. I've reduced the lectures somewhat from what they would be in class, mostly because you probably don't have large blocks of time available to you, but more importantly, there are limitations imposed by technological requirements, speed, downloading, hosting, and so on and so forth. What I really suggest you do for the rest of the semester is strongly engage with the textbook. Read through the readings that have been assigned. Do that beforehand. Then we'll get to the lectures for the class, which will go through some of that information in a way that is perhaps more explanatory or more accessible. But if you have questions while you're doing readings, while you're doing the lecture watching, write those questions down. We can address them in our weekly question and answer sessions, and we can also address them on Microsoft Teams. Now, Teams is more or less like the application Slack, and it's the one that the university recommended for us. It's a pretty new application, so they're still figuring some things out. I sent out some information and instructions about how to join our team and how to use Teams. I think some of that will get clarified a little bit more as the University Office of Technology has some more information on it after it's been rolled out for longer. But so far, sign up has been pretty disappointing. I think fewer than 10% of the students in my classes have signed up for Microsoft Teams, and that's a little bit disappointing. I hope that it's not indicative of the engagement with class stuff that I should expect for the rest of the semester. I don't really think that would help anyone. Teams will be really useful for us because it provides a forum where everyone can ask questions. When I answer those questions, or if another student is able to answer them more quickly, everyone has access to those responses. And it also allows for us to be able to continue something like a community of learning, which hopefully some of you felt during the semester. So please do go in and join those teams. They're not graded necessarily, but it is really where I'm hoping that we can continue a somewhat regular interaction to feel like we're still part of the same thing, even though we're separated and only connected by whatever tubes it is that make the internet. The last thing that I want to say is about the coronavirus in general and all of the things that have led to our university and so many others and so many other aspects of public life having to undergo significant changes in the last couple of weeks. There's a lot of misleading, incomplete, incorrect information that's available to you everywhere. If you're experiencing severe anxiety over this, please contact a physician or a mental health professional, the University Mental Health Services. A lot of private insurances have expanded their coverage to cover remote consultations without any copay. If you're really feeling bad, and if you're really feeling panicked or anxious, please do see somebody about that. But it's important to keep things in context. The situation looks like it's going to be fairly bad, but on the other hand, it's an illness, and we can do things to keep ourselves safe, practice good hygiene practices. The university has closed down, which is why office hours are going to be online. They're discouraging anyone from being there. The administration has suggested that we stay away from groups larger than 10. As long as we do those things, we're doing the best that we can to protect ourselves and keep ourselves and our families and those we live with safe. There's not much we can do about things outside of our control. That's why they're outside of our control. The one thing that we can do is keep information in context. Media is driven by a profit motive, which means that headlines like "Who lives and who dies" are designed to make you feel excited or anxious. They want you to click things. The more you click, the more money they get. We want these things, media brings them to us, and as a result, it's sometimes unclear what exactly it is that we should believe. Try to focus on news that provides information. If you want a clear place to go for clear, non-sensationalist news about what's going on, what precautions should be taken, what new rules and policies may be as they pop up, I'd suggest going to the CDC website, the Centers for Disease Control. It's a government organization, and they're reputable. Right? I think that you also might want to follow utdallas.edu/coronavirus. There, the university has posted a collection of all of the different emails that they've sent out. So if you have questions about what's open, what's closed, when and if, I suppose, things change with regard to the openness or availability of on-campus resources, they'll be posted there. So that website, which is, again, utdallas.edu/coronavirus, they're regularly updating policies. I think it's a good idea to follow that and to keep up to date with it. The thing that you shouldn't do is try to crowdsource information to get a whole bunch of opinions from a bunch of other people who may not know anything more than you. This is a large part of why we get incorrect or incomplete information, misinformation, and it unnecessarily adds to stress and anxiety. You have resources to know what policies are. Use those resources. Use reputable news organizations, or use the CDC to find out what's going on. Use the university to be able to find out what the university policies are. Just like if you have questions about what's going on in the class, when something is due, and you've ever sent questions like that to your GroupMes or what have you and get a whole bunch of different responses, you don't need to trust other people's opinions. They may be correct, they may not be. The syllabus tells you all of that information. If you have questions about things that aren't addressed in the syllabus, that aren't addressed in UTD policy directives, please let me know. If you find yourself in a situation where you don't have access to the internet, which I'm sorry, I don't know how you'd see this. A lot of private corporations are offering free access. If you find yourself in a problem where you don't have computers or some other sort of equipment and are unable to get access to them because public places are closed, please let me know as soon as you can. EPS has some resources available. The university has some resources available. We might be able to help you. Just reach out to me. Let me know what your situation is, and I can get back to you with regard to whether or not there's anything that can be done or if there's any way we can help. So welcome back again, everyone. I'm excited to finally be back and to be finishing the semester out strong. It is up to us to be able to make it normal, or as normal as we can make it. And I really hope that we're going to be putting our best effort into this. We only have a couple of weeks left. Then, as long as everything goes well, and it really looks like it should, right? We should be back to normal operations within, the next couple of weeks, few months. I'm not a magician, I don't know. But we'll be back, and we'll recover from this. We're in it together. In the meantime, it's important for us to hold ourselves accountable and to remind ourselves that we are going to school, even though we're not leaving our house to do that. We're going to school, and we should behave as such. Right? So I hope everybody is healthy. I hope everybody stays healthy. And if you have any questions as we move throughout the semester, please let me know. I will do the best that I can with the resources that are available so that we can carry out the rest of the semester as normal as possible. Thanks.